A vehicle repair mechanic scammed the world's richest investors out of $1 billion. He had the courage to carry out this openly while living in a country like the United States. He neither took loans and ran away, nor robbed any bank. Instead, he earned all this money by selling solar panels. His planning was so dangerous that even the world's biggest industrialists fell into his trap. But what exactly did he do? Who was this man who managed to trap investors like Warren Buffett? And most importantly, how was he finally exposed? Once again, welcome viewers to USA Doc Videos. This is the story of 36-year-old Jeff Carpoff from California. Jeff and his partner started a business in which both worked as mechanics to earn a living for their children. But within a short time, their business collapsed, and it became difficult for them to even feed their kids. Jeff became obsessed with the dream of becoming rich. To fulfill this dream, he was constantly trying something new, but failure always followed him. When his financial condition became extremely weak, he started selling drugs just to feed his children. Gradually, debt started piling up on him. Paying house rent and other bills became difficult, and selling drugs did not feel like a good option to him either. That is why he started looking for a job. Eventually, he got a job as a solar panel salesman. He spent his entire day meeting people to sell solar panels, which gave him the opportunity to understand customer feedback. After some time, he realized that people were interested in buying solar panels, but they were afraid that their panels might get stolen. Jeff Carpoff could eliminate this fear and make a lot of money because he had now found a solid idea. He thought, why not do something that makes people's solar panels secure? If these panels were fixed on trucks or trailers and after being used all day, the trucks were parked at a secure location at night, it could be a good option. The plan was very good, but there was one problem. Jeff Carpoff did not have the technical knowledge to make this plan successful. Therefore, he contacted his brother-in-law, who was a mechanic. After some time of hard work, both of them prepared a mobile solar generator. It was mounted on a frame with tires underneath, and solar panels were fixed on top of the frame. After using the solar panels, they could be locked again and parked in a secure place. On the other hand, portable diesel generators were already available in the market, and Jeff Carpoff's company was now using solar energy instead. The portable generator market was worth $3 billion. Neither Jeff nor his brother-in-law had any idea how to compete in this market or how to attract people from diesel generators to solar generators. But luck favored them. A customer named Watson used to visit their car repair shop, who was himself a software professional. When he learned about Jeff's invention, he offered to form a company together. The company was named DC Solar, and Watson, along with his team, joined, handling the marketing department. Instead of targeting the general public first, they decided to think big. They initially targeted Hollywood, because at that time, diesel generators were used on movie sets, which created a lot of noise. In this situation, DC Solar's mobile solar generators could be a perfect option. Their plan started working, and these solar panels began to be used on the sets of many big films. In 2009, a famous American actor and film producer shared pictures of these solar panels. Jeff started meeting businessmen and building his own network. He never missed an opportunity to talk about his company at public gatherings. Very soon, Jeff partnered with the world-famous law firm Nixon Peabody. During this period, the American Congress passed a law that tripled the tax credit on the value of investment. This meant that any business purchasing solar panels would get 30% of its investment back. In other words, if any company invested in solar technology, the government would pay back 30% of that amount. This was double profit for companies. They could save on electricity costs through solar panels and also receive 30% back from the government. With this explosive government offer, Jeff's company DC Solar introduced a new package in the market. They announced that any company could now buy solar panels by paying only 30% as advance, while the remaining 70% could be paid in installments. DC Solar's offer was so attractive that no one could refuse it. By paying only 30%, the panels could be booked from DC Solar, and the same 30% would be returned by the government in the form of cashback. This meant people could install mobile solar panels without spending their own money, and the remaining 70% could be paid to DC Solar in easy installments, which could easily be covered by saving on electricity bills. This was a complete win-win situation, and as a result, DC Solar's network started growing rapidly. In 2011, Jeff was present in a stadium watching a baseball match when he suddenly received a message that the famous paint company Sherwin-Williams had placed an order for 192 mobile solar generators. This was Jeff's biggest order, with a total value of $29 million. In addition, an American bank was working on tax reduction and job creation and wanted to collaborate with DC Solar. Jeff prepared fake documents and, through false statistics, convinced the American bank that the demand for solar generators was extremely high. As a result, the American bank became DC Solar's first financial partner. The American bank's plan was that over the next few years, it would purchase solar generators from DC Solar and lease them to the public, which would reduce the burden of taxes and electricity bills on people. Up to this point, everything seemed fine, and nothing appeared abnormal. Then the real problem started. The solar generators that had been installed on movie sets began to develop issues and repeatedly shut down. This was bound to happen because Jeff and his brother-in-law had built them without proper technical knowledge. The surprising thing was that they even started charging for information and support. Meanwhile, the preparation of panels for Sherwin-Williams was still ongoing, but due to slow speed, only the front row panels were completed, and the deadline had already passed. To deceive, the back row panels were attached only with nuts and bolts, while in reality, those back row panels were not functional at all. Despite this, Jeff was busy enjoying a lavish lifestyle. He bought a new house and a new car. When companies stopped receiving their orders on time, no company was ready to lease these generators for 5 to 10 years. Without long-term leases, DC Solar could not pay returns and lease payments to its old investors. However, Jeff and his team came up with another plan. They secretly launched a new scheme in which lease payments from new buyers were used to pay returns to old investors. Along with this, by declaring themselves a solar company, they were also receiving millions of dollars in tax credits from the government treasury. This meant that through fake documents and data, DC Solar was also taking money generated from the taxes of the American public. Now it was time to make this scheme practical. For this, Jeff needed new investors so that money from new investors could be used to pay the old ones. He showed fake data to every investor, claiming that generators were being sold in very large numbers. For this purpose, he unnecessarily moved generators from one place to another so that investors would believe demand was extremely high and deliveries were constantly happening. In this way, investors considered the business profitable and agreed to invest. By doing this, Jeff also deceived shell companies and grabbed $76 million from them. In 2014, when the IRS, Internal Revenue Service, tried to investigate the company, DC Solar's legal representatives convinced the IRS in every possible way and managed to save the company. The entire company had turned into a scam solely to satisfy investors. In reality, generators were not being sold at all, and no cash was coming in from the public, but money was continuously being taken from investors. Jeff was looking for even bigger investors. His luck favored him when Valley National Bank wanted to purchase solar equipment worth $76 million. They had requested a list of companies that provided solar generators on lease or rent. DC Solar's name was also on that list, with a claim that 80% of their generators were rented out, whereas in reality, this number was only 5%. Valley National Bank also became a victim of this fraud. Similarly, Jeff Carpoff trapped the insurance company GEICO as well. This company is a branch of Berkshire Hathaway, owned by one of the richest people in the world, Warren Buffett. The question arises, how did such a big company fall for this fraud? Jeff used extreme cleverness. He bribed an employee of the major American telecommunications company T-Mobile and got a fake document signed stating that T-Mobile was leasing 1,000 generators from DC Solar for the next 10 years. When companies like T-Mobile appear in a portfolio, it becomes easier for other companies to trust the business. GEICO also signed a 3-year agreement to purchase 8,000 generators with a total cost of $1.2 billion. Initially, GEICO benefited from this deal because they were saving 30% in taxes, approximately $377 million. In reality, however, their money was being used to pay returns and lease payments to old investors. At this time, Jeff's luxurious lifestyle was at its peak. He owned countless villas, more than 100 cars, and even a private jet. DC Solar's name even reached NASCAR, and DC Solar's sponsorship began appearing on cars. It seemed that no one could stop Jeff. But now nature began to tighten the rope around his neck. One of DC Solar's own employees exposed the company, after which the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, and the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, started an investigation. When the fraud was proven, Jeff was arrested. The investigation revealed that Jeff Carpoff was running a Ponzi scheme under the cover of selling generators, meaning he was paying old investors with money taken from new investors. Such Ponzi schemes usually run only for the first few years, but as soon as new investors stop coming in, the real problem begins. In such situations, companies either disappear overnight or their owners are arrested. Jeff Carpoff's Ponzi scheme claimed to have produced a total of 177 solar generators, but only on paper. Investors were shown fake GPS trackers to prove that the generators were operating in the market. However, the investigation revealed that these GPS trackers were not installed on generators at all. Instead, they were buried underground at different locations. On 9th November 2021, Jeff Carpoff was sent to prison. Along with him, his wife and 5 other individuals were also sentenced for their involvement in the same scheme. It is hoped that you will fully like and share this USA DOC video. Thank you very much for your love-filled comments. We will meet again in the next amazing video.